Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about Supabase. And Supabase actually, if you are one of the owners of Supabase, if you're watching this video, actually I will not mind to send me a Slack and a t-shirt of Supabase. I will wear it proudly for my videos. So just to know. Uh, so Today, actually, we have a great updates, and those great updates are actually involving Superbase. And if you open my GitHub today, you're actually going to see, if you open custom actions, you're going to see two folders, which is called, one is called Firebase and one is called Superbase. So if you click on Firebase, you can actually find all the custom codes that I wrote during my tutorials in GitHub for authentication, database, messaging, and storage. There were actually a lot of people asking me how to do the same thing for Supabase. So the today video is actually we're going to talk about how you can do the same things for Supabase as well. So if I click on Supabase, we have here authentication, database, and storage. We don't have messaging because messaging is actually sending a push notification. So far, I haven't found a way to send the push notifications using Supabase, but maybe in the future there will be this possibility. But we begin from top to bottom, and the first thing it's authentication. So what is an authentication? We have the Supabase create user, we have the Supabase login, and we have the Supabase user data. So and I have actually set up a project, and inside this project I have most of this code and I think like all the codes that is in my GitHub. I have it over here. So let's begin with create user. So in order to create user, let's actually click on the GitHub one. Like I said, all the codes is available in my GitHub, so you can actually get it from my GitHub. And if you import a widget, this is how you import. This is how you import the code that is coming from FlutterFlow. So you don't have to write a lot of code. The only code that you have to write is that you need to have the email. You need to have the email, and you need to have the password. If you want, you can have the build context as well, but it's not necessary, because if you want to have the build context, like showing a message, that this, for example, this email it's already in use, or some other errors that will appear, you have the context as well. But if you don't want to show any errors like out of the context of the page, then don't use it. And yeah, so if we go over here, you actually see that this is the code, and the code is very simple. It's just Auth manager that create account with email, because there are a lot of things, there are a lot of ways you can create an account. In this particular case, we're talking about creating an account with email. And then we need to pass the context, and we need to pass the email, and we need to pass the password as well. So this is actually this is automatically handled by FlutterFlow. You don't have to do anything at all. And then we have the print. I'm actually printing the user, but you don't need to. But I'm just for debugging purposes, I'm printing actually the user. And then this is the code in my project. This is how it looks like. Of course, we need to exclude from compilation. Like I'm always saying, every time you have dot and then slash, you have to know that you need to exclude from compilation. You don't get any errors over here, but you need to still exclude from compilation, or else it will not work. And then how to use this Auth create user. If I go actually inside my login page, I have this create, custom create, and if I click on custom create, and if I click on the action, this is the action, Auth create user, and then I have the field, of course, I'm passing the email, and then the password, of course, I'm passing the password, and this is the action that I'm using. And then let me open Supabase actually, so I can show you how that looks in Supabase. So those are my users right now in Supabase, and I have this custom demo. I have the demo user, and then to let's switch to the project. And now I have the test version of the project, and now I can have something like new at demo.com. Why I'm not writing? What's going on? Say new demo.com, and then the password will be 123456. This will be the password. And then click on this one, create, custom create. So if I click on custom create, I should be able to create this user. So if I go back to Supabase and click on reload, you can boom, you can actually see the user. It's the first user over here. You can see the user being created, provider, its email, when was created, last sign in the user ID as well. So that's actually working. You see that this is working. And if I go back, I should be able to log in with this user as well. So if I switch to my project again and just go back to the Auth page, now I can log in. So in order to log in, let's switch back to GitHub and then click on the login. So the login is very simple. Again, we need a context email and password, and the only difference is the method, right? It's sign in with email. So we are going to actually use this inside my project again. We have this out login user, and I have this sign in with email, and then we're using that inside here custom login, and I'm passing actually the same things. I'm passing the email and the password. So let's try out this in the test mode. So I can just write new, and then I'll write demo, that demo, and then the password. I will actually make, I will intentionally not write the password. So, and I'll click custom login, and now you can actually see that everything is working, and it says invalid login credentials. This is coming from FlutterFlow. But if my credentials are right and click on custom login, now I am logged in, and I think I'm not actually redirecting. Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually not redirecting to the main page. I have to quickly fix that when I'm logged in to redirect the page, because right now I'm logged in. So now if I go over here and if I just write my details again, I should be redirected. So it's like this, and then 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then custom login, and then I'm redirected and I'm logged in. And how do I know that I'm logged in? Actually, we can see from here, it says last sign in, and I can refresh and I can see that this change actually, I don't know if you noticed that, but this change. And the last thing about authentication, actually, I want to show you that the user data. So you can actually have access to the user data, and in this case particular, you need to use out Supabase out. You need to import out Supabase out utilities, and you have access for the variables like current user UID, current email, and current JWT token. There were actually a lot of people asking me about that. Can we access the token? And now you can actually, and this is how you can do it. So if you go to out user data, this is my code. And if you look in the right, don't forget to exclude from compilation. I'm always saying that, but it's super important, or else it will not work. And then if I go, what I'm doing with this code, I'm putting it in the app state. And why I'm putting it in the app state? Because I want to actually use this data afterwards. So if I go to my app state, I have this user ID, I have the email, and I have JWT token. So when I go in my project, in my page, you can actually see that I'm outputting the ID, I'm putting the email, and I'm putting the token. And this is actually coming from authenticated user. And this here is actually coming from my code, which is from the app state. And why is that? Because I'm actually running that get user data. So if I switch to my project right now, and if I click here, the authenticated user right now, it's new demo.com. This is the ID, this is the email, and this is the token. And this is the old user, which is custom demo.com. And if I click on get user data, now you can actually see that it switched, and now it's the ID of it's the same ID, the same email, and the same token. So now you have access to the token. And let's move on actually, and let's talk a little bit about database. So let's talk about Supabase Database, and let's talk about how you can access database. So we have a lot of custom actions. I try to actually rewrite all the custom actions that I use using Firebase to write them in Supabase. So we have bunch delete documents, we have bunch insert or update documents, we have bunch insert rows. We have this actually should be rows, not documents. Sorry about that. I have to change that. And then we have download table as SCV. We have duplicate rows. We have get custom row. Get random row. We have get the row by ID. We have get the row. We have get the rows using filter. We have get the rows using table. We have get the rows. We have get the rows. Insert or update row by ID. We have insert or update row using filter, and we have shuffle rows, and we have update all rows in table. So we have actually a lot of custom actions right now. If I go to all the custom actions, I will spend like 2 hours to explain them. I think all of them, or at least 1 hour. So I don't want to do that, but I will actually explain you one of the main ones. So if you get hand of them, I think you'll be good to go. So the first one that I want to talk is the most simple one. It's get row. So if I click on get row, this is how you get a row or rows inside FlutterFlow custom code or custom action. So if I switch to my, and then if I go to home page, and then I was actually surprised. I didn't know that, but I was surprised that you cannot actually get a row inside an action. So if I go over here, let me show you what I mean. If I go over here, and if I go to backend and for Firestore, that was actually not the case. That was the same case as well. But they actually recently added query collection. So that means that you can actually query or read document. You can actually do that now. Before that, you were not able to. So if you click query collection, you can choose the collection and then get the document. But they actually added. But for Supabase, you only have insert row, update row, and delete row. Unfortunately, you don't have select row. And that's why we actually need to use get row. So we have get row and get rows. Get row is a single row, and get rows is actually will return you rows. So if I switch back to my code in GitHub, this is how to get a single row, and this is how to get rows, like all the rows based on the search field and value. So if I switch back to my code, this is, let's say, for example, if I go to my, let me show you, for example, in my Supabase, I have set up these videos, for example. Let me show you what I mean. I have set up these videos, and let's say, for example, that I want to get only the videos that have the title of FF Tutorial 1. And to do that, in order to do that, using the custom the custom action, you need to write the search field. And the search field in my particular case, it's title lower cases. Title, it should be the same as in your Supabase. So it's title with your cases. You can see it over here. And then what we are searching for, it's we are searching for FF tutorial 1. So this is the value that we're searching for. And uh, this will return us video. It's because it's only one, so it will be video response or video row. Doesn't really matter. But this will actually not work, and the reason for that is I'm actually returning videos, but in your case, as you can see over here, I'm returning videos, but in your case, you will return something else, I guess. So if I go over here and if I just write get row, make sure to actually change video role and videos table to whatever table that you want to get. This is very important. Unfortunately, this cannot be done dynamically, so you have to change it yourself. So make sure you change it. So I have another table which is viewers, for example. So if I want to query viewers, then I can still do that. I have one filter which I can clear actually. Yeah, great. So if I go over here and if I want to query viewers, doesn't matter that viewers, it's lower cases. I can actually, with Control D, I can select both videos rows and I can actually write the viewers. And it will actually appear here in the drop down. So I just selected viewers, and now I have to change the videos table as well. So I'll change it to viewers table. Is the second one. Great. And the last thing that I need to change is on the right side when it says FlutterFlow row, just change it to viewers. And now I can save it and then it should work. And it's like I said, the only three things that you have to change, that you need to change over here, are those three things in order to work. Great. So when you change that, you can actually um, test it and it should work. I have already tested and it's working. And this is how to get a single row using Supabase. If you want to get multiple rows, there is this, I'll not save this, there is this custom action called get rows, and of course it's inside GitHub as well. And so it's the same action that I have it inside my project. You don't need to exclude from compilation in this case because you are not actually using I'm not using import, so I'm not importing anything, as you can see over here. And again, like I said, you have to change the videos rows to wherever table you're using and videos table to wherever table name that you're using. And the final thing is that the only difference is the return. In this case, we're returning a list of Supabase rows, and I'm returning all the results. Or my other case, I'm just returning the first result. So so this is a list, and I'm just returning the first one, which is with the index 0. Of course, you can return the second one or the third one or wherever you prefer to, but I'm just returning the first one from this list. And then there's another thing that you might ask: how can I actually get every single row in a table? So I made a custom action for that as well. And I think it's called get Supabase get rows using table. So get rows using table will actually return all the rows inside a table. If this is what you desire, this is how you can do it. And let's switch again here and get. So it's get rows using table, and this is the code you have to use. And again, you have to change those three things. The videos row will be wherever table, so it will be like if it's car, then it will be cars row, and then videos table will be cars table. For example, if you are returning cars. And here you have to switch as well on the right side as well. And this will actually return a list of rows, of Supabase rows, to all the rows that you have inside your table. So if you, like I said, if you desire this one, then you can still do it this way. And then I want to actually talk about, I should begin this in the beginning of the video probably, but I forgot about it. So let's actually talk a little bit about Supabase rules because they are important. And I'll just give you the basic now, and I hope in the future I'll do a detailed detailed tutorial about the rules in general. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a little bit about the rules. Sorry, in Supabase. So, in order for this code to work, what I did is that I actually opened my tables to be viewed by everyone. This is not a good approach. This is not a good example. But this is what I did for the demo purposes, and I just wanted to make sure that everything is working fine. So I have one for delete, I have one for select, I have one for insert, and I have one for update. Of course, this is not a good practice and you should not do that. But if you want to just test it out, if it's working, or for example, for select, I think you're good to go to be viewable by everyone, to be viewed like public. And then for delete, insert, and update, probably it's the best to have it set up only for authenticated users. But like I said, I plan in the future to do videos about that, about the rules, because there are a lot of to talk about that. But right now you can use my setup. So I'll just say you the select one. If I click edit, this is my setup. It's very simple. It says enable read access for all users, and I have the target. It's anon. I think you can put. I think you can. It can be blank as well if you want to, and then I just put through. This is one. This is the select rule. The delete rule is actually the same thing. It says delete, enable all users, and then it says true to delete one. And then for insert, if I click edit, is the same thing. Insert all users, and then true. And then want to save it. And then for update, it's actually update all users, and it says using expression says true, and with check expression says true. So like I said, this will open your table for everyone to read. It's not a good practice, but for demo purposes and for testing purposes, it's actually a good thing to do. So you know that the rules are not the ones that are actually stopping your project from continue on. And this is actually my rule. So basically, like I said, my rules is actually open to everyone right now. But I plan, like I said, to do a video about that in the future and talk about more about the rules. And let's continue actually to the custom actions in Supabase. And let's talk now about all the actions that I left. So let's go from the bottom, from top of the bottom, and then let's just briefly talk about the action. So this action, it says bunch delete docs. You don't actually need custom code for that. You can actually do it from custom action in Firebase. Sorry, but probably I'll write the code as well. If you ever need to use code, probably I'll write the code as well, so you have the code as well. And then we have batch insert or update documents. So batch insert, update, or documents is a little bit more complicated custom action, which is we need the field name and then we need the field values. And what is the idea is that we actually looping through the fields. Those are actually lists. So it will be a list of string and list of, in my case, list of integer and list of strings as well. So we're actually looping through the list, all the values, and we have to find the right row. And to find the right row, we're actually using the field name and then the individual items or individual value from each list. So it's field value and then one field value two and field value two, three. And that will give us actually the row. But if we don't have the row, if we're not able to find the row, we are actually, if we're not able to find the row, it's over here, sorry, we're actually inserted. So it's the name of the is first is the name of the row, which in my case is videos row, and then it will be the table. So it will be videos table, and then insert, and then we have this JSON, and we actually put in the JSON over here. So what we want to actually insert, and then if we have it, if we're able to find it, then we're actually going to update it. So we're going to update it. So we are actually going to update it, and this is how you're going to update it. And then we are going to update it all the videos out there. And the final thing is that we're actually returning the rows. In my case, the videos. We're returning all the videos that have been inserted or updated. So this is the code for insert or update. Like I said, if the record of if the row is not there, it will be inserted, but if it's there, it will be updated with those values. Because you can have, in my case particular, I have like three values. I'm searching for three fields or three columns, but you can have like 10 columns, so it will be only updated only the columns that you are searching for. And the rest of them will be left untouched if you are only updating. If you have already this row, it will be only updated and not inserted. So I hope that makes sense. And then we have bunch insert rows. So this is actually a little bit less complicated because it's only the part when you are inserting rows. So that means that you are actually supplying the names of the fields again with using a string, and then you supply the list of the. For my example, it's strings, but it could be like data types, or it could be like not data types, but like data type, for example, or whatever data type you're using, and then you're actually inserting them. You're batch inserting those, in my case, videos inside the table. And then we have downloads table as CV, so as CSV, sorry. And then this is actually how you can download a table. Let's say I have this viewers row. So in my case, it's viewers rows over here, and I'm downloading the ID, the name, and the date, and I'm putting it inside a CSV file. You have to use this package, which is download, in order to download it, and you have to use and that's it. Actually, you don't need any other packages. This is the default one. You don't need to import that one. This is not a dependency. This is the only dependencies that you need. And I talked about the download one. So if you want to use it for mobile, I have a separate video on how to use the download package for mobile. So if you haven't watched that, please do. But basically, this code is actually looping through the documents, because we're passing the list of documents, the list of rows, or not documents, but the list of rows. We're passing the list of rows, and then we are going through each of the list, and then we are actually putting commas. And this is actually how we do the CSV file, which CSV file can actually be opened in Excel after that. And then we're converting it to bytes, and then we're actually putting them in a stream, and then we're downloading it. Great. And let's see how we can duplicate rows. So duplicate rows, actually, again, we have the search field, so the search field or search colon, and then the search value. So the search field and the search colon, the search value is actually the row that we want to duplicate or the rows that we want to duplicate, it could be like a number of rows. It doesn't need to be only one row. It could be like a bunch of rows. So for example, if you want to duplicate a row that I want to duplicate all rows in the videos, let's say that have the title of FF tutorial 1, then I can do that. Then I have to write this, then I have to write the field, the search field need to be the title with lower cases, and then the search value will be FF. It should be the same, FF tutorial 1. And then it will actually search for the rows using this criteria. And then if we find the rows using this criteria, we'll just simply duplicate it. We'll just insert it with the same data. Great. And then we have the get random row. So get random row is actually getting all the rows in the table. And then we are using random, and we are actually getting a random index from the row. Don't forget to change the videos row and the videos table. I'm always saying that. Don't forget to do that for your own table names. But this will give you a random row. And then we have get row by ID. So get row by ID is actually working pretty much the same way as get row by filter or get row, but in this particular case, we're only filtering by ID, because get row by ID probably it's one of the most used one. So that's why I put it in a separate custom action. So it's get row by ID. And because the ID will be unique, so that's why we're returning only one row from the table. And of course, and again, here I'm using the video row. That's how I did it. You have to change that for your own table. Just change video row with the name of the table. For example, cars row, and then this one will be videos table, will be cars table, for example. Great. And let's move on. We already talked about get row, and we are going to talk about get rows using filter. So get rows using filter is actually the same as get rows. And because they are different in Firebase, that's why I actually create them for Supabase. But for Supabase, like I said, it's the same as get row. So like I said, it's basically the same thing. If you want to use it with this name, then use it with, if it makes more sense for you to just use it this way, then you can just use it this way. And then we have get rows using table. We have already talked about that. This will actually return all the rows from a particular table that you choose to get the rows from. And then we have get rows. We already talked about that. This will actually return you rows and not a single row, but it will actually give you a list of rows. And then we have insert or update row by ID. And this will actually search for an ID and then see if this row is already there with this ID. And if it's there, it will update it. But if it's not there, it will actually insert it. So this is what it's doing. It's actually almost the same as bunch insert or update. The only reason, the only difference here is that it will actually only insert or update one row. It will actually not update or insert like many rows. It will actually do it only with one row. So keep that in mind. This is only working with one row. That's why it's by ID, right? But of course, you can change that if you want to. If you don't want to be like an ID, if you want to be like a table name or something like that, you can still change it to wherever you want to. And then this one is Supabase insert or update row. And like I said, this is like individual row. It's not multiple rows, it's only a single row. And this is how you can do it. And again, you're actually searching for a row and then updating it. And I think I made a small mistake over here, so let me just quickly change it, fix it. Sorry, I think it's fine. Actually, the logic is fine. We are actually searching for individual row, and if we find the row, we are actually going to find. We're going to update it by the ID. But if we don't find the row, we are actually going to insert it. So yeah, I think this logic it's fine and it should work fine. And then this one is Supabase Shuffle rows. So what that does is actually when you're getting all the rows from a table, it will actually shuffle the rows, and then you get every time you query or when you use that, it will actually you get a random order of the rows will be returned if this is what you desire. And then we have update all rows in table, so that will actually update all the rows inside the table. And you have the field name 123, field value 123, and you can put like what is the field name. So for example, title will be something that you desire. So if you want to change all the titles, for example, in all your rows inside Supabase, you can just write title and then you can write my title, whatever value you want to put. And this will actually update all the rows in a table. Great. So let's move on to the last part, which is the storage one. So let's talk about the storage one. This is the code that I wrote, and there are a couple of things that I want to talk about. So first thing we need to import the backend API request API calls. In my case, I'm just using this as my, because I use that for a video that I made. So that's why I'm using an API request, but just to show, in this case particular, I'm actually saving file from URL. That's why I'm using this API calls, because sometimes I have this cross-reference errors, and using this API call, I don't have it. If you haven't watched the video, you can actually search it for how to save file from URL in my channel, so you can actually see it. And I used Firebase for that, but now I switch it this code, and now the code you will be able to use it with Supabase. And then I have this upload data. So I have the FlutterFlow upload data. And then what we need. So we need the URL, we need the bucket, and we need the full file path. And then here we are actually getting the file as bytes from the API call that we do, which is only a get request of the API call, and we only putting the link to the file. It could be an image or wherever you want to, and this could be dynamic. This can come from a variable, but I explain this in the video, and I don't want to go into much details about the setup, because you can watch it in the video. And then I convert this to bytes, and then I have this selected file, and the selected file will actually get the full file path, which you have to supply actually, and then you have the bytes. The bytes are actually coming from the API code. And then we are download. So we have the download URL, because here we are importing. So when we are importing, we need to place the bucket, and we need to place also the selected file. And finally, if you want to use the file path, you can actually put it in the app state. I have created an app state, and I put the file path inside the app state, and it's this download URL. And if I switch to my project, this is actually how it looks like. This is save file from URL. So you need to supply the URL of an image. In my case, it's an image, it's a JPEG image. And then you need to supply the bucket, and then you need to supply the full path. So in my case, it's actually user, so that I'm getting the user ID, I'm getting the file, and then the file actually I'm putting the current time as a file. So every time the user will upload a file, it will be with the current time, and then it's that JPEG. And this is how I doing it. And if I switch to Firebase actually, and if I go to storage, which is this one over here, and if I go to demo, which is the bucket that I want to store, this is a public one in my particular case, and this is where I'm storing it. Like I have users, then the ID of the user, and then I have the date, which is file and then date. In my particular case, this is an image that was generated by AI. So it's AI generated image. And this is how I'm doing it. And then let's move on to the second one, which is upload any file type. And you can actually do that. There is no code for that because you said you don't need a custom code for that anymore using FlutterFlow native actions because you can upload any file out there. And we have another thing, which is upload multiple files, which means that if you want to restrict your users to upload only specific files, then you can do it this way. Then you can actually uh, have the file type with a list, and then you can supply the file types as a list. And this is how you upload a file to the bucket. Again, we're using the bucket and we're using the folder path. So the bucket is different than the folder path, right? So the bucket is where you like store it, and the folder path is what is the folder path inside the bucket. So those are two different things. And then, like I said, you can supply the file types. So it could be like PDF, for example, JPEG, PNG, and that will be the file types that you want to. The user will be able to upload only. Then you can restrict it. And the final one is Dart convert. So the final one is upload a raw file to Supabase. So raw file is actually bytes. So how you upload actually bytes. If you're passing bytes, and this is the full path, and you're passing actually bytes, and the bytes are actually you can convert bytes to string, and then you can pass it to as bytes because you can't pass. Unfortunately, you can't pass bytes as bytes as bytes data type in FlutterFlow. So that's why you need to pass them as a string. And there is actually, I think there is a custom, I think there is a custom function that I'm converting bytes into string and vice versa. I think there is that. So you have to, I think you have to search for it. So it bytes to image. But yeah, it's not that hard to do that. And then this is the code how you can upload a file. It doesn't matter if it's an image or any file uh, from bytes. If you have it as bytes, then this is how you upload it inside your Supabase storage. So it's actually those codes actually took me like a couple of days to implement and to write for you guys. So I hope you really like that. I hope you really enjoy the codes, and I hope that those codes will actually make sense for you and you'll be able to use them. If you find some codes that are not working for you, let me know. And probably the best place is to use the Discord channel for that. Or if you think it's something wrong with the code itself, you can actually open an issue inside GitHub. And before you go, actually, and before you go, I just want to let you know that I set up a Discord channel, which will be for my 3,000 subscribers. So thank you very much for everyone who subscribed to the channel. The Discord channel will be officially announced when I reach the 3,000 subscribers. Uh, it is well structured. It will be well structured with the general tab which you can see the info, the news, and we will have also click to talk, so you can actually talk to other members of the channel. And we have the YouTube videos as well, where you can see all the YouTube videos. You can also have, if you want to, if you want to request a video, you can go to video requests, and then we have the paid members from YouTube, which they have a separate channel where they can talk. I also have from the mentoring sessions, we have the paid members. And then it's structured by backend, FlutterFlow API calls Supabase SQLite. And then you have the design, where you can ask design questions. We have the custom code, which is code expressions, custom functions, custom widgets, custom actions, and FlutterFlow source code. We can talk about the FlutterFlow source code as well. And we have integrations as well, pub dev packages, platforms, if you want to integrate different platforms. We have the general integrations. And then we have, you don't see it from my face, but we have also the settings. We have the dynamic links, we have the push notifications, we have the app settings, we have the Android deployment, we have the iOS deployment, and we have the web deployment. And the last thing that we have is actually we have the languages, and we have other languages. So we have like Swedish, for example, Spanish, Portuguese, and all other languages that people from those countries or those languages can talk in their own language. So yeah, like I said, thank you very much for all the subscribers. And before you go, I just want to say that the paid membership for YouTube is now open. So you can be a paid member to my YouTube channel, which means a lot. And thank you very much for all the people who are right now paid members to the channel.